The meeting room on Harmony 7 station buzzed with angry voices. Representatives from dozens of alien species sat around the massive circular table, their various forms creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes, and a few looked like walking crystals. But they all shared one thing. They were upset about Earth. Hyun-Woo Kim sat quietly in his chair, wearing the simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. He was a tall man with graying hair and calm eyes that had seen many such meetings. Around him, aliens pointed and gestured wildly as they spoke about humanity. "The humans have too many ships," shouted the Valthari representative, a being that looked like a giant purple octopus. "They patrol systems that do not belong to them." "Yes," agreed the Kelthian delegate, whose body was covered in shining scales. "Earth's fleet moves through our space without permission. This cannot continue." Hyun-Woo listened without speaking. He had been Earth's chief diplomat for 15 years. He had heard these complaints before. The aliens always said the same things. Humans were too aggressive, too military, too ready for war. They never understood that Earth's ships were keeping the peace. The Galactic Council chamber was enormous. It could hold representatives from all 849 member species of the galaxy. Today, nearly all the seats were filled. The emergency session had been called after reports that Earth's fleet was moving ships into the Kepler 442 system. The aliens claimed this was an act of war. "The human military presence grows stronger each year," said another voice. This came from a delegate who looked like a walking tree. "They build more ships, train more soldiers, and expand their territory. When will it end?" Hyun-Woo finally stood up. The room became quiet as all eyes turned to him. He was one of only 3 humans in the chamber today. The other 2 were holographic projections from Earth fleet ships. "Council members," Hyun-Woo said in a clear voice, "Earth has always followed galactic law. Our ships move only through space that belongs to us or our allies. We have signed every peace treaty and honored every agreement. But your fleets are too large," the Valthari shouted. "No single species should have so much military power." Hyun-Woo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "You think our fleets are large? You think we have too many ships?" "Of course we do," said the Kelthian. "Earth has more warships than any, 10 species combined." "Then you have not been paying attention," Hyun-Woo replied. "What you see patrolling your borders are not our war fleets. They are our patrol boats." The room erupted in angry voices. Aliens stood and waved their arms, tentacles or whatever appendages they had. They did not believe him. How could small patrol boats be so powerful? How could Earth have even more ships hidden somewhere? A soft chime filled the air, calling for order. The council speaker, an ancient being from the Etherian race, raised one glowing hand. The Etherians were old, older than most species in the galaxy. They had been around when humans first left their home planet centuries ago. "Representative Kim," the speaker said in a voice like wind through leaves, "your words concern us. Are you saying Earth has military forces beyond what we have observed?" Hyun-Woo nodded. "I am saying that Earth has always believed in being prepared. We learned long ago that peace comes from strength. Those who cannot defend themselves invite. Attack!" "That sounds like a threat," the Valthari delegate screamed. "It is not a threat," Hyun-Woo said calmly. "It is a fact. The same fact that has kept this galaxy peaceful for over 200 years. One of the holographic projections flickered to life. It showed a woman in a black military uniform with silver stripes on her shoulders. This was So-Young Park, Earth, Fleet Intelligence Officer. She was aboard a ship somewhere in space, but her image appeared clear and sharp in the council chamber. "Council members," So-Young said, "I have been monitoring this discussion. I feel I should share some information that might help you understand the situation better." "Speak," the council speaker said. 3 days ago, Valthari and Kelthian ships entered the Kepler 442 system. They formed a blockade around our research station there. When our supply ships tried to reach the station, they were turned away at gunpoint. "That system is disputed territory," the Kelthian delegate protested. "No," So-Young replied firmly. "Kepler 442 has been registered as Earth territory for 47 years. Your ships had no legal right to be there." The room filled with angry murmurs again. Many aliens seemed surprised by this information. They had been told different things by their governments. Another holographic figure appeared. This was a man in a captain's uniform, standing on what looked like a ship's bridge. His name tag read, Captain Taemin Lee, and behind him, crew members could be seen working at various stations. "I am currently commanding the destroyer Incheon's Pride," Taemin said. "We are one of 12 Earth ships stationed in the Kepler 442 system. For the past 3 days, we have been surrounded by over 300 alien vessels from various species. 300 ships against 12, the Valthari delegate said with satisfaction. "Even Earth cannot fight those odds." Taemin looked directly at the Valthari representative. "You are welcome to test that theory if you wish." The tone in his voice made several aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. There was no fear in the human captain's words, no concern about being outnumbered 25-1. If anything, he sounded almost bored. "This proves our point," shouted another delegate, this one from a species that looked like giant insects. "Humans are too aggressive. They threaten war at every opportunity." Hyun-woo stood again. "We do not threaten war. We simply do not fear it." "There is a difference?" asked the council speaker. "Yes," Hyun-woo replied. "A very important difference. Earth did not seek this confrontation. We were simply conducting legal activities in our own territory. Other species chose to interfere with that." "But surely," said a delegate who resembled a floating jellyfish, "Earth understands that the galaxy cannot allow one species to dominate through military might?" "Earth dominates nothing," Hyun-woo said. "We protect what is ours and help our allies protect what is theirs. If other species see this as domination, perhaps they should ask themselves why." The ancient Etherian speaker leaned forward. His glowing eyes seemed to look deep into Hyun-woo's soul. "Representative Kim, your species has a reputation in this galaxy. Some call humans the apex predators of space. Is this reputation deserved?" Hyun-woo was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft but clear. "Council Speaker, what happened at Proxima Centauri 90 years ago?" The room suddenly became very quiet. Many of the younger delegates looked confused, but the older ones remembered. The Etherian speaker's glow dimmed slightly. "That is ancient history," the speaker said finally. "History that should not be forgotten," Hyun-woo replied. "The galaxy learned an important lesson at Proxima. Some species seem to have forgotten that lesson." "What lesson?" demanded the Valthari delegate. Instead of answering, Hyun-woo looked around the room at all the alien faces. "The Galactic Council will vote today on whether to impose sanctions on Earth's fleet movements. You will vote to limit our ships and reduce our presence in contested areas. That is your choice to make. Yes, it is, several aliens shouted at once. But remember, Hyunwoo continued, choices have consequences, and some consequences cannot be undone. The vote was called 30 minutes later. 847 species voted to impose sanctions on Earth's fleet. Only one abstained, the Etherians. As the results were announced, the ancient speaker whispered to his aide, "They have forgotten. They have forgotten what humans are truly capable of when pushed too far." Hyun-woo gathered his papers and prepared to leave. As he walked toward the exit, he activated his communication device. "This is Kim to Earth Command," he said quietly. "The vote has been cast. They chose to ignore our warnings." The response came immediately from Admiral Subin Yoon on Earth. "Understood. All fleets are standing by for orders." Hyun-woo nodded to himself as he left the chamber. Behind him, alien delegates celebrated their victory over human aggression. They had no idea what was coming. Admiral Jun-ho Kang stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the star charts with tired eyes. He had been commanding Earth's 7th Fleet for 12 years, and in all that time, he had never seen the galaxy so ready for war. The communication from the Galactic Council had arrived 3 hours ago. The aliens had voted to impose sanctions on Earth's fleet movements. "Admiral," called his communications officer, a young woman named Lieutenant Jimin Seo. "We're receiving movement reports from across the galaxy. Valthari and Kelthian ships are mobilizing in massive numbers." Junho nodded slowly. He had expected this. When politicians made foolish decisions, soldiers had to deal with the consequences. "How many ships are we talking about, Lieutenant?" "At least 2,000 confirmed, sir. They're forming up in 3 main battle groups. The largest is heading for the Kepler 442 system." "Of course they are," Junho muttered. The aliens thought they could force Earth out of its own territory through sheer numbers. They had no idea what they were walking into. The bridge of the Soul's Fury was busy but calm. Crew members worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. These were professional soldiers who had trained for moments like this their entire careers. Jun-ho was proud of them all. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "we're also receiving reports that the alien alliance has grown. 6 species are now working together: Valthari, Kelthians, Zendari, Polthak, Rigelians, and the Tau Confederacy." Jun-ho raised an eyebrow. 6 species working together was unusual. Normally, the various alien races could barely agree on trade agreements, let alone military action. Someone has been very busy convincing them all that Earth is a threat. From her position at the engineering station, Chief Engineer Yoonji Choi looked up. She was a small woman with quick hands and an even quicker mind. "Admiral, with respect, Earth is a threat. That's the whole point." Several crew members chuckled quietly. Yoonji was known for speaking her mind, and Jun-ho appreciated her honesty. "You're right, Chief, but they don't understand what kind of threat we are." "What do you mean, sir?" asked. Lieutenant Seo Jun-ho walked to the main display screen, which showed the positions of ships throughout the local sector. Red dots marked alien vessels, blue dots showed Earth ships. There were a lot more red dots than blue ones. "Look at this display," Jun-ho said. "What do you see?" "We're outnumbered about 30 to 1 in this sector," said the tactical officer. "Exactly. And what does that tell you about Earth's strategy?" The crew exchanged glances. They had been trained in Earth military doctrine, but seeing it play out in real time was different. Lieutenant Seo spoke first. "Sir, if Earth Command is willing to let us be outnumbered this badly, It means they have confidence in our abilities. Or, added Yunji, it means there are a lot more Earth ships somewhere else that the aliens don't know about. Junho smiled. Both of those things are true. But there's something else. Think about it. If Earth really wanted to dominate the galaxy through military force, would we advertise our strength by sending huge fleets everywhere? Understanding dawned on the tactical officer's face. No, sir. We'd hide our real strength and only show enough force to maintain peace. Exactly. What the aliens see patrolling their borders represents maybe 5% of Earth's actual military capability. We show just enough strength to keep pirates and raiders away, but not enough to make other species feel threatened. Until now, Yunji said quietly. Until now, Junho agreed. They've forced our hand. A new communication came in, marked urgent. The message was from Marine Commander Woojin Nam, who was aboard one of the fleet's assault carriers. His face appeared on the screen, showing a man with sharp features and serious eyes. Admiral, Woojin said, my boys are ready. All dropships are loaded and Marines are suited up. When do we move? Easy, Commander, Junho replied. We're not at that stage yet, but keep your people ready. Sir, with respect, what are we waiting for? The aliens have been building up forces for days. They're not exactly hiding their intentions. Junho understood the Marine's frustration. Woojin was a good officer who cared about his soldiers. He wanted to strike first, before the enemy could organize properly. But this situation required patience. Commander, what's the first rule of Earth military doctrine? Never start a fight, Woojin replied immediately. But always finish it. Right. The aliens haven't actually attacked us yet. They're positioning ships and making threats, but no shots have been fired. If we move first, they can claim we're the aggressors. But, sir, Lieutenant SEO interjected, intelligence reports say they plan to intercept our supply ships in the Kepler 442 system. Isn't that an act of war? Only if they actually do it, Junho said. Right now, it's just posturing. Politicians on all sides are trying to show strength without actually committing to battle. As if summoned by his words, another communication arrived. This one was from Captain Hyun-Soo Park, commander of one of Earth's cargo vessels that was approaching Kepler 442. His ship, the Busan Merchant, was due to arrive at the research station with supplies in 6 hours. Admiral, Hyun-Soo said, I've got about 50 alien ships forming up in front of my course. They're demanding that I submit to inspection and turn over my cargo. Junho felt his jaw tighten. This was it, the moment when political posturing became military action. Captain, what's your cargo manifest? Scientific equipment, food supplies, and replacement parts for the research station. Nothing military, nothing restricted. And your ship's actual capabilities? Hyun-Soo smiled grimly. Well, sir, let's just say the Busan Merchant has a few surprises that aren't listed in the public registration files. Junho nodded. Earth's Q ships, heavily armed vessels disguised as civilian cargo haulers, were one of the fleet's best-kept secrets. The aliens had no idea that many of Earth's merchant ships could outfight most military vessels. Very well, Captain. Maintain your course and speed. Follow standard protocols for cargo inspection requests. Understood, sir. And if they try to board us by force, then you defend your ship and cargo according to maritime law. Earth does not surrender its vessels to foreign powers. Copy that, Admiral. Busan Merchant out. As the communication ended, the bridge crew looked at Junho with new understanding. This was how wars started. Not with grand declarations and massive battles, but with small incidents that spiraled out of control. "Admiral," Yunji said softly, "the Busan merchant may be armed, but she's still just one ship against 50. If shooting starts, Junho replied, then the aliens will learn why Earth's cargo ships travel with such confidence through dangerous space." Lieutenant Seo checked her instruments. "Sir, I'm detecting weapons charging on the alien vessels. They're not just posturing anymore." "Time to intercept?" Junho asked. 4 hours at maximum speed, sir." Junho considered his options. He could order the fleet to rush to the cargo ship's aid, but that might escalate the situation beyond repair. On the other hand, if he let the aliens attack an Earth vessel unopposed, it would show weakness. "Commander Nam," he said into the communication system, "how quickly can your Marines prepare for boarding actions?" "Give me 30 minutes, sir. My people are always ready." "Chief Choi, what's our maximum speed capability?" "Officially or actually?" Yunji asked, with a slight smile. "Actually. We can be there in 2 hours, sir. Maybe less if you don't mind some stress on the engines." Junho made his decision. "All ships, prepare for emergency acceleration. We're going to watch the aliens make their choice." "Sir?" Lieutenant Seo asked. "The other aliens think they're calling our bluff," Junho explained. "They believe Earth will back down rather than fight. In 2 hours, they're going to learn how wrong they are." He activated the fleet-wide communication channel. "This is Admiral Kang to all ships, battle stations. We're not looking for a fight, but if one comes to us, we'll finish it properly." Throughout the fleet, warning lights began flashing as ships prepared for combat. Soldiers checked their weapons, engineers verified their systems, and officers reviewed their orders. Earth's 7th Fleet might be outnumbered, but they were about to remind the galaxy why that didn't matter. In the distance, 50 alien ships waited around one Earth cargo vessel, unaware that they were about to make the biggest mistake in galactic history. Fleet Admiral Su Bin-yoon stared at the holographic display floating above her desk in Luna Base, Earth's primary military command center. The display showed the entire galaxy, with thousands of small lights marking ship positions, troop movements, and strategic assets. Most people would see a complex web of colors and numbers. Su Bin saw a chessboard where the aliens had just made a very foolish move. "Ma'am," said Director Dong Hyun Lim, head of Fleet Intelligence, "we've confirmed weapons fire in the Kepler 442 system. The aliens opened fire on the Busan merchant 15 minutes ago." Su Bin felt a cold calm settle over her. She had been Fleet Admiral for 8 years, and she had hoped never to see this day. Earth had worked hard to maintain peace through measured strength. Now the aliens had forced them to show their true capabilities. "Casualties?" she asked. "None on our side," Dong Hyun replied. "The Busan merchant's defensive systems performed exactly as designed." "The alien ships?" "Well, they're having a very bad day." Su Bin nodded. The Q-ship program had been one of her pet projects. Disguising heavily armed warships as cargo vessels had seemed like a good way to protect Earth's trade routes without appearing aggressive. Now it was proving its worth. How many alien ships were involved in the attack? 53 vessels from the Valthari Empire and Kelthian Syndicate. The Busan merchant has destroyed 12 and disabled another 8. The rest are retreating. And Admiral Kang's response? "The 7th Fleet arrived on scene 20 minutes ago. Admiral Kang is requesting permission to pursue the fleeing alien vessels." Su Bin considered this carefully. Once Earth ships crossed into alien territory in pursuit of attackers, there would be no going back. The galaxy would see it as an act of war. But the aliens had fired first on a peaceful cargo ship. Earth had every right to defend itself. Tell Admiral Kang to maintain position and protect our assets. No pursuit, yet. Yes, ma'am. Subin walked to the large window that looked out over Luna's surface. In the distance, she could see the massive construction yards where Earth's ships were built. Most people knew about the visible yards, where patrol boats and destroyers took shape. Very few knew about the hidden facilities buried deep in Luna's core, where Earth's real military power was assembled. "Dong-hyun," she said without turning around, "how many species are now aligned against us?" Intelligence confirms 8 species have joined the Anti-Earth Alliance, the original 6 plus the Hegemony and the Spiral Collective. 8 species, probably 4,000 ships total. Yes, ma'am. Conservative estimate puts their combined fleet strength at 4,200 vessels. Subin smiled grimly. And they think that's enough to threaten Earth. Ma'am, with respect, it is a significant force. Our publicly known fleet strength is only about 600 ships. Publicly known, yes. Subin turned back to face her intelligence director. Dong-hyun, how long have you worked for fleet intelligence? 12 years, ma'am. And in those 12 years, what's the most important lesson you've learned about Earth's military strategy? Dong-hyun thought for a moment. That nothing is ever what it appears to be, ma'am. Exactly. The 600 ships the galaxy knows about represent our patrol force. They're designed to handle pirates, smugglers, and small conflicts. What do you think we use for real wars? Before Dong-hyun could answer, another officer entered the room. Captain Ji-hae Song of the experimental stealth carrier Busan's Ghost had just arrived from the outer system. She was a thin woman with short, black hair and eyes that seemed to miss nothing. "Admiral," Ji-hae said, saluting crisply, "the Ghost is ready for operations. My crew has been drilling for weeks." "Good. How are your new pilots working out?" "They're eager, ma'am. Maybe too eager. They want to know when they'll get to test their equipment in real combat." Subin looked at the tactical display again. The Alien Alliance was growing stronger, but they were also becoming more confident. Confidence could lead to mistakes, and mistakes could be exploited. "Captain Song, your ship officially doesn't exist, correct?" "That's right, ma'am. As far as Galactic, records show the Busan's Ghost was scrapped 2 years ago after a reactor accident. And your fighter squadrons?" Phantom Squadron is fully operational. 24 stealth fighters, each equipped with the new phase shift technology. They can attack targets and disappear before anyone knows what hit them. Subin made her decision. "Very well. Captain Song, you're authorized to begin field testing your equipment. Consider the Alien Alliance your test subjects." Ji-hae's eyes lit up. "Ma'am, are we talking about reconnaissance missions or active combat?" "I'm talking about reminding the galaxy why Earth's military has such a fearsome reputation. Start small, hit their supply lines, disrupt their communications, make them paranoid. I want them jumping at shadows." "Understood, Admiral. When do we begin?" "Immediately. But remember, your ship doesn't exist. If anyone asks, these attacks are being carried out by unknown raiders." As Ji-hae left to prepare her ship, Subin turned back to Dong-hyun. "Now, let's discuss the real response. How quickly can we mobilize the reserve fleets?" Dong-hyun consulted his tablet. "The 12th through 18th fleets can be ready within 72 hours. The deep space squadrons will need a week to reach operational areas." "And the special projects? Admiral, are you sure we need to activate those assets? Some of them have been classified so long that even I don't know their full capabilities." Su-bin walked to her desk and entered a series of codes into her computer. The security system acknowledged her identity and granted access to files that fewer than 20 people in the entire galaxy were authorized to read. Dong-hyun, what do you know about the Scorched Earth Protocol? Only the name, ma'am. And that, it requires authorization from the highest levels of government. The Scorched Earth Protocol is Earth's final defensive strategy. It's designed to be implemented if our civilization faces extinction-level threats. Su-bin pulled up a file that made Dong-hyun's eyes widen. It includes assets that we've been building and hiding for over a century. How many ships are we talking about, Admiral? Ships are just the beginning. We have orbital platforms that can crack planets, weapons that can destabilize stars, and defensive systems that can protect entire solar systems. The aliens think they're fighting Earth's navy. They have no idea they're about to face Earth's true military-industrial complex. Dong-hyun stared at the display showing ship counts that seemed impossible. Ma'am, these numbers, if this is accurate, Earth could conquer the entire galaxy. Yes, Su-bin said quietly. We could. That's exactly why we've never revealed this capability. Power without restraint leads to tyranny. Earth chose to appear weak so that we would never have to use our full strength. But now the aliens have forced our hand. They attacked our ships, threatened our colonies, and formed an alliance specifically to limit Earth's influence. They've made it clear that they see us as a threat that must be contained or destroyed. Su-bin activated her communication system, connecting her to military commanders across the galaxy. One by one, faces appeared on her screen. Men and women who commanded fleets and installations that existed only in the most classified files. Ladies and gentlemen, she said to the assembled officers, as of today, the Scorched Earth Protocol is active. You know what that means. The responses came immediately. Deep Space Command acknowledges. All ghost fleets are standing by. Fortress Command ready. All hidden installations are powering up. Special Weapons Division confirms. Project Prometheus is operational. Planetary Defense Grid online. All worlds are protected. Su-bin felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. Earth was about to reveal capabilities that would reshape the galactic balance of power forever. There would be no going back after this. Remember, she said to her commanders, our goal is not conquest. Our goal is to end this threat quickly and decisively. Show the galaxy enough of our true strength that no one will ever again mistake our restraint for weakness. Understood, Admiral, came the chorus of replies. As the communication ended, Su-bin looked at Dong-hyun. Draft a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them that Earth regrets the recent hostilities, but we will defend our territory and our citizens by any means necessary. Ma'am, shouldn't we try to negotiate? Maybe there's still a peaceful solution? Su-bin shook her head. The aliens had their chance for peace. They chose war. Now they'll learn what war with Earth actually means. Outside Luna Base's windows, hidden launch bays began opening across the moon's surface. Ships that had never seen daylight started emerging. Vessels so advanced that they seemed like magic compared to Earth's known technology. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their ships or their soldiers. It was their ability to appear weak while remaining strong, to hide their true capabilities until the moment they were needed most. That moment had finally come. Captain Kyungmin Bae stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Gwangju's Vengeance as it emerged from the asteroid field where it had been hidden for 30 years. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency, bringing online systems that hadn't been used in decades. The ship's massive bulk, nearly 3 kilometers long, cast shadows across the rocky debris that had concealed it. "Captain," called his navigation officer, "we're clear of the field. All systems are green." "Excellent. Communications. Signal the rest of the Ghost Fleet. It's time to announce ourselves." Throughout the asteroid belt, more ships began emerging. These weren't the patrol boats and destroyers that the galaxy knew about. These were the vessels Earth had built in secret: massive battleships, carrier platforms, and weapons platforms that defied conventional understanding of what was possible. Kyung-min had been captain of the Gwangju's Vengeance for 15 years, but this was the first time he had taken her into open space. She was one of Earth's ghost ships, vessels that officially didn't exist. Their crews had trained in hidden facilities. Their weapons had been tested in empty star systems far from prying eyes. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "long range. Sensors are detecting the alien Alliance fleet. They're massing near the Valthari home system. Current count is over 3,000 ships." 3,000, Kyung-min mused. "That's a respectable force. Too bad for them it won't be enough." On the other side of the galaxy, pilot Hai-Wan Shin was conducting final pre-flight checks on her stealth fighter, Phantom 7. Her ship was docked inside the experimental carrier, Busan's Ghost, which was moving silently through space toward alien territory. "Phantom 7, this is Control," came the voice of Captain Ji Hai-song over the communication system. "You're cleared for launch. Mission parameters are uploaded to your computer." "Copy that, Control. Phantom 7 launching now." Hai-Wan's fighter slid out of the carrier's bay and immediately vanished from all sensors. The phase shift technology made her ship invisible to every known detection method. As far as the universe was concerned, Phantom 7 simply didn't exist. Her mission was simple: find the alien fleet's command ship and disable its communications array. Without coordination, even the largest fleet became just a collection of confused individual ships. Meanwhile, on the orbital fortress Daegu's Shield, Commander Young-Soo Han watched as massive weapon systems came online for the first time in 50 years. The fortress was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid and had been disguised as a mining station for decades. Now its true nature was being revealed. "Sir," reported his weapons officer, "all primary cannon arrays are charged and ready. Secondary systems are at 90%. Good. Target the alien staging area at coordinates 774 Mark 12. When the Admiral gives the word, I want those ships to know they've been in a fight." Young-Soo had helped design some of the fortress's weapons himself. The main guns could punch through a planet's crust from orbit. The aliens had no idea what they were about to face. Back on the Gwangju's Vengeance, Kyung-min received a priority message from Fleet Command. The time for hiding was over. Earth's true navy was finally going to war. "All ships," he announced, over the fleet communication channel. "This is Admiral Kyung-min Bae. Yes, you heard that right. I've just been promoted to Admiral. That should tell you how serious this situation has become." His crew smiled at his casual tone. Kyung-min had always been known for keeping things light, even in the most serious situations. It helped his people stay calm under pressure. "Our orders are simple," he continued. "The alien alliance has attacked Earth ships and threatened Earth colonies. They think they can intimidate us through superior numbers. Time to show them why numbers don't always matter." The Ghost Fleet moved toward alien space with purpose. These ships were faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Their weapons were more powerful than anything in the known galaxy. Most importantly, their crews had been training for this moment their entire careers. HFY reached the alien fleet first. Her stealth fighter drifted silently among their ships, completely undetected. She could see massive Valthari battleships, sleek Kelthian cruisers, and dozens of other vessel types from the allied species. They were impressive ships, well-armed and well-crewed. They were also completely unprepared for what was coming. HFY selected her target, a massive command ship at the center of the formation, her weapons locked onto its communication arrays, and she fired 4 precision shots. The alien ship's antennas and relay systems exploded in showers of sparks. Before anyone could react, Phantom 7 was gone. "Control, this is Phantom 7. Primary target neutralized. Moving to secondary targets." "Copy that, Phantom 7. How are they reacting?" HFY looked back at the alien fleet. Ships were turning in all directions, their crews trying to figure out what had happened. Without their command ship's communications, they couldn't coordinate their response. "Like ants whose hill just got kicked," she reported. "They have no idea what hit them." The Gwangju's Vengeance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Keltian home system. Kyungmin's massive dreadnought was accompanied by 8 other capital ships, each one larger and more powerful than anything in the public Earth fleet. "Admiral," said his sensor operator, "detecting 200 alien ships in system. They're moving to intercept us." 200 ships against 9, Kyungmin said thoughtfully. "Those are almost fair odds." His crew chuckled. They knew their admiral well enough to recognize the joke. The Gwangju's Vengeance alone could probably handle 200 conventional warships. "Sir, the aliens are demanding our surrender. They say we're outnumbered and should retreat while we still can." "How polite of them." "Send a reply. This is Admiral Bay of the Earth Navy. You have attacked Earth ships unprovoked. Surrender immediately or face the consequences." "Sir, they're laughing at us. The alien commander says 9 ships can't threaten an entire fleet." Kyungmin sighed. "Some people only learn through experience. All ships, weapons free. Show them what Earth engineering can accomplish." The battle was over in 18 minutes. The Earth ships moved through the alien formation like sharks through a school of fish. Their weapons tore through alien hulls as if they were made of paper. Their shields absorbed incoming fire without even flickering. Most impressively, they coordinated their attacks with precision that seemed impossible. When the smoke cleared, 170 alien ships had been destroyed or disabled. The remaining 30 were fleeing toward their home planet as fast as their engines could carry them. "Well," Kyungmin said as he watched the aliens retreat, "I suppose they're not laughing anymore." Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Earth's hidden fleets emerged from their concealment and struck alien targets with devastating efficiency. Supply convoys vanished without a trace. Military bases found themselves under attack by ships that appeared from nowhere. Communication. Networks went silent as stealth fighters disabled relay stations. The alien alliance, which had seemed so confident just hours before, was falling apart. Species that had promised to stand together began retreating to defend their own territory. The coordination that had taken months to arrange collapsed in a matter of hours. Commander Young-Soo Han finally received his orders to fire. The Daigu's shield orbital fortress unleashed its main weapons on an alien military complex 3-star systems away. The blast was visible from halfway across the galaxy, a demonstration of power that left no doubt about Earth's capabilities. On the bridge of the Busan's Ghost, Captain Ji Song watched her stealth fighters return from their missions. Every target had been hit, every objective achieved. The alien alliance's ability to coordinate their forces had been completely destroyed. "Ma'am," said her communications officer, "we're receiving surrender requests from 12 different species. They want to negotiate." Jihye looked at the tactical display. In less than 6 hours, Earth's hidden fleets had shattered an alliance of 8 species and over 4,000 ships. The aliens were learning why humanity had such a fearsome reputation. "Tell them," she said quietly, "that they should have thought about negotiation before they opened fire on our cargo ships." The galaxy was about to learn that Earth's patience, like Earth's mercy, had limits, and those limits had just been reached. Colonial Administrator Bo-Ra Jeon was reviewing crop reports when the emergency alert came through. Her office on the farming world of New Jeju was quiet and peaceful, with windows overlooking vast fields of earth-grown rice and vegetables. The planet was home to nearly 2 million human settlers who had built a prosperous agricultural community far from the conflicts of the core worlds. "Administrator," called her assistant, rushing into the office with a tablet in his hands. "We're receiving priority alerts from Fleet Command. Alien ships have been detected heading for our system." Bo-Ra felt her stomach drop. New Jeju was a civilian colony with no military value. The closest Earth Navy base was 3 days away at maximum speed. If the aliens were coming here, it meant they were targeting helpless civilians. "How many ships?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm. 47 vessels from 3 different species. They'll be here in 6 hours." Bo-Ra immediately activated the colony's emergency communication system. Her voice echoed across the planet as she spoke to every settler at once. "Citizens of New Jeju, this is Administrator Jeon. We have received word that hostile alien forces are approaching our system. All civilians should immediately report to designated shelters. This is not a drill." Across the planet, families began moving to the underground bunkers that every Earth colony was required to maintain. They had hoped never to use them, but Earth's planners had learned long ago that it was better to be prepared for the worst. On the industrial world of Taejon 3, Militia Commander Sung-Ho Park was gathering his volunteers when the alien ships arrived. His world produced mining equipment and construction materials for other colonies, and had a population of 800,000. Like New Jeju, it had no military defenses beyond a small volunteer militia. "All right, people," Sung-Ho said to the 200 men and women who had answered the call to defend their home. "We're not soldiers, but we're not going to let aliens destroy everything we've built here." His volunteers were miners, engineers, and factory workers. They had hunting rifles and industrial tools, not military weapons. But they were determined to fight for their families and their homes. In space above both colonies, the alien fleets arrived and immediately began broadcasting demands for surrender. The aliens had decided that if they couldn't defeat Earth's military, they would force Earth to negotiate by threatening civilian populations. Refugee ship captain Mi Young-Kwan was loading desperate colonists from the frontier world of Hanbit station when the alien ultimatum came through. Her ship, the Safe Harbor, was designed to carry cargo, but she had retrofitted it to transport as many people as possible. "Captain," said her first officer, "the aliens are giving us 1 hour to evacuate the station before they destroy it. There are still 50,000 people down there." Mi Young looked at her ship's capacity readouts. The Safe Harbor could carry maybe 3,000 people safely. To take 50,000, she would have to pack them in like cargo, with barely enough life support to keep them alive. "Start loading," she ordered. "Pack them in everywhere. Cargo bays, corridors, anywhere there's space. We'll figure out the details later." The attack on Earth's civilian colonies was broadcast across the galaxy. The aliens wanted everyone to see that they could strike at humanity's helpless populations. They thought this would force Earth to stop its devastating attacks on alien military forces. They were wrong. On Luna Base, Fleet Admiral Su Bin Yoon watched the reports with cold fury. The aliens had crossed a line that should never be crossed. They had deliberately targeted civilians to gain military advantage. "Dong Hyun," she said to her intelligence director, "how many colonies are under attack?" 17 worlds so far, Admiral. All civilian populations, no military targets. The aliens are trying to force us to negotiate by threatening our people. I see. Subin's voice was very quiet, very controlled. And do we have response forces in position? Ma'am, our combat fleets are engaged with alien military targets. It would take days to redeploy them to protect the colonies. Then we'll use other assets. Activate the Scorched Earth Protocol, Level 7. Dong Hyun's face went pale. Level 7 was reserved for extinction-level threats to human civilization. Ma'am, are you sure? Level 7 authorizes... Level 7 authorizes everything. Subin finished. Total war, no restrictions, complete elimination of threats. The aliens wanted to play with civilians. Now they'll learn why that was a mistake. Within hours, Earth's response began. But this wasn't the measured military action that the galaxy had seen before. This was humanity unleashing capabilities that most people didn't know existed. The alien fleet approaching New Jeju was the first to learn what Level 7 meant. They were confident as they entered the system, expecting to face only civilian transports and maybe a few security ships. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by weapons platforms that materialized out of empty space. Hidden defensive stations, concealed for decades in asteroid fields and gas giant atmospheres, revealed themselves and opened fire. The alien commander barely had time to send a distress signal before his flagship was vaporized by energy beams that could slice through mountains. His fleet of 47 ships lasted exactly 4 minutes and 33 seconds. At Taejon 3, the alien attack force met a similar fate. They thought they were attacking a defenseless industrial world. They discovered instead that Earth had turned entire planets into fortress worlds, with planetary defense grids that could destroy fleets from halfway across a star system. Commander Sung-Ho Park and his militia volunteers watched from their bunkers as the sky lit up with weapons fire. The battle was over before they could even reach their defensive positions. "Well," Sung-Ho said to his second-in-command, "I guess we won't be needed after all." Captain Mi-young Kwan was still loading refugees when the alien fleet that threatened Hanbit Station simply disappeared. One moment they were there, demanding surrender. The next moment, space was empty except for expanding clouds of debris. "Captain," said her communications officer, "I'm receiving a message from something calling itself Earth Defense Platform Omega-7. They're asking if we need assistance with the evacuation." Mi-young looked out her window at what appeared to be empty space. "Where are they? I don't see any ships." "Ma'am, they say they're permanently stationed in this system. Hidden defensive installation." Mi-young realized that Earth had been secretly protecting its colonies all along. The aliens had walked into a trap, thinking they were attacking defenseless civilians. Instead, they had triggered humanity's ultimate defense network. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out as alien forces targeting human colonies found themselves facing overwhelming firepower from sources they couldn't detect or understand. Earth hadn't just hidden its fleets, it had turned its entire territory into a fortress. But Earth's response didn't stop with defense. The aliens had attacked civilians, and humanity was going to make sure that never happened again. Admiral Subin. Yoon activated communication channels to Earth's most secret military units. This is Fleet Command to all Scorched Earth assets. The aliens have chosen to target civilian populations. You are authorized to respond with maximum force. No alien military capability is to remain intact. The response came from voices across the galaxy. Deep Strike Command acknowledges, beginning systematic elimination of alien fleet assets. Stealth Division confirms, all alien command structures are now priority targets. Planetary Assault Corps ready. We can have troops on their home worlds within hours. Orbital bombardment platform standing by, ready to demonstrate consequences. Subin felt no satisfaction in giving these orders. Earth had hoped never to reveal these capabilities, but the aliens had forced this escalation by threatening innocent civilians. Remember, she told her commanders, our goal is not genocide. Our goal is to eliminate their ability to threaten Earth ever again. Leave their civilian populations alone. We're better than they are. Within hours, the alien alliance began collapsing completely. Species that had been confident in their military strength watched helplessly as their fleets were systematically destroyed by weapons they couldn't see or understand. Their command centers fell silent as stealth forces eliminated their leadership. Their home systems found themselves under blockade by ships that appeared from nowhere. Administrator Bo-Ra Jian emerged from her shelter to find New Jeju completely untouched. The alien fleet that had threatened her world was gone, destroyed so quickly that most colonists hadn't even reached the bunkers before the all-clear signal sounded. She stood in her office, looking out at the peaceful fields that her people had worked so hard to create. Earth had protected them, just as Earth had always protected its people. But now the galaxy would know the true cost of threatening human civilians. The aliens had thought they could force Earth to negotiate by targeting the innocent. Instead, they had triggered a response that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Commander In-Soo Cho stood on the bridge of the Siege Fleet flagship Hammer of Justice as it dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Valthari home system. Around him, 43 Earth warships materialized in perfect formation. Ships so advanced that they seemed to bend the laws of physics. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "detecting massive defensive installations throughout the system. The Valthari have pulled back all their forces to protect their homeworld." In-Soo nodded grimly. The Valthari Empire had been one of the strongest supporters of the anti-Earth alliance. Their purple-skinned leaders had convinced other species that humanity was too dangerous to be allowed free movement through the galaxy. Now they were about to learn what real danger looked like. "How many ships?" In-Soo asked. "Over 800 vessels, sir, plus orbital platforms, ground-based weapons, and what appears to be a planetary shield generator. 800 ships defending one planet," In-Soo mused. "They're scared." He was right to notice their fear. The Valthari had watched in horror as Earth's hidden fleets destroyed their allies across the galaxy. Species that had seemed invincible just days before had been reduced to burning wreckage in a matter of hours. The Valthari knew they were next. On Earth, tactical analyst Eugene Lee sat in the war room coordinating attacks across 17 different star systems. Her job was to make sure Earth's forces struck with maximum efficiency and minimum waste. Every alien military asset had to be eliminated, but she wanted to do it with surgical precision. "Ma'am," said her assistant, "the siege fleet at Valthari Prime is in position. Commander Cho is requesting permission to begin the assault." "Negative," Eugene replied. "Have him wait. I want the Kelthian shipyards eliminated first, then the Rigelian command center. The Valthari can watch their allies fall before we deal with them." Yu Jin's strategy was psychological as much as military. She wanted the remaining alien leaders to see exactly what happened to species that threatened Earth. Fear would make them more likely to surrender rather than fight to the last ship. Halfway across the galaxy, Marine General Seok Jin Kim was preparing for the largest planetary assault in human history. His target was the fortress world of Kelth 9, where the Kelthian Syndicate had built their most powerful military installations. "General," said his aide, "all dropships are loaded and ready. The Marines are asking when they can begin the attack." Seok Jin looked at the tactical display showing Kelth 9's defenses. The planet was covered with weapons platforms, shield generators, and underground bunkers. The Kelthians had spent 2 centuries building the perfect fortress world. "Tell the Marines they won't be needed," Seok Jin said calmly. "We're going to try something different." His aide looked confused. "Sir, we have 50,000 Marines ready for deployment, and they'll stay ready. But first, let's show the galaxy what Earth's weapons technology can really do." Seok Jin activated his communication system, connecting to one of Earth's most secret projects. "This is General Kim to Project Sunburst. You are authorized to demonstrate capabilities on target Kelth 9. The response came from a woman whose ship was hidden in the outer system. "Project Sunburst acknowledges. Beginning orbital bombardment sequence." What happened next redefined what the galaxy thought was possible in warfare. A single Earth ship, no larger than a destroyer, fired one shot at the fortress world of Kelth 9. The weapon passed through. The planet's shields, as if they didn't exist, penetrated deep into the crust and detonated with the force of a small star. When the light faded, Kelth 9's military installations had simply vanished. Not destroyed, vanished. The weapons had unmade them at the molecular level, leaving perfectly spherical craters where fortress complexes had stood for centuries. The planet's civilian population was unharmed, but their military had ceased to exist in the span of 30 seconds. Back at Valthari Prime, Commander Insu Cho watched the tactical reports coming in from across the galaxy. The Kelthian fleet had surrendered after seeing their fortress world neutralized. The Rigelian command structure had collapsed when their leadership was captured by stealth forces. One by one, the alien alliance was falling apart. "Sir," said his communications officer, "the Valthari Emperor is requesting to speak with you, directly." Insu considered this. The Valthari had been one of the most vocal opponents of Earth's fleet movements. Their emperor had publicly called humans a plague upon the galaxy that needed to be contained. Now he wanted to talk. Put him through. The emperor of the Valthari Empire appeared on the main screen. He was an impressive figure, 3 meters tall with purple skin and tentacles instead of arms. His species had ruled a dozen star systems for over 1,000 years. Today, he looked very small and very afraid. "Human commander," the Emperor said in accented English, "I wish to discuss terms for ending this conflict." "I'm listening," Insu replied. We were misinformed about Earth's capabilities. We thought your species was becoming too aggressive, too militaristic. We sought only to restore balance to the galaxy." Insu almost smiled. "Your Majesty, Earth has been maintaining balance in this galaxy for over 2 centuries. We've prevented 17 major wars and stopped countless smaller conflicts. The balance you're worried about has been our balance all along. But your fleets... Our fleets have been protecting trade routes, escorting humanitarian missions, and keeping pirates from raiding shipping lanes. The ships you were so worried About represent maybe 5% of our actual military strength. The Emperor's tentacles writhed in distress. 5%? But those ships were so powerful. Your Majesty, Earth has been deliberately showing restraint for generations. We could have conquered this entire galaxy centuries ago. We chose peace instead. You forced us to reveal capabilities we hoped never to use. On the Emperor's flagship, alarms began sounding. His tactical officer reported that Earth ships were appearing throughout the system. Not just the 43 that had been visible, but hundreds more materializing from hidden positions. "How many ships do you have?" the Emperor whispered. "Enough," Insu replied simply. "Your Majesty, here are Earth's terms. Complete military stand-down. All Valthari forces will return to your home system and remain there. Your shipyards will be inspected and placed under Earth supervision. You will pay reparations for the human civilian colonies you attacked. And if we refuse?" Insu gestured to his tactical display, which showed the Emperor exactly what had happened to the Kelthian fortress world. "Then your military will share the same fate as theirs. Your choice, Your Majesty." The Emperor looked at his advisors, all of whom were staring at the tactical displays showing Earth's overwhelming force. They had started this conflict thinking they could intimidate humanity through superior numbers. Now they realized that Earth had been using their patrol boats to keep the peace while hiding fleets that could reshape star systems. We accept your terms," the Emperor said quietly. Similar surrenders were happening across the galaxy. Species that had seemed ready for total war just hours before were frantically trying to contact Earth representatives to negotiate their surrender. The alien alliance that had taken months to organize collapsed in less than a day. Tactical analyst Eugene Lee watched the reports coming in from 17 different fronts. Every alien military force had been neutralized or had surrendered. The threat to Earth's colonies was over. "Ma'am," said her assistant, "what should we do with the alien fleets that have surrendered?" "Standard procedure," Eugene replied. "Disarm them, escort them home, and place their systems under monitoring. They're not allowed to rebuild their military capabilities without Earth supervision." "And the species that are still fighting?" Eugene looked at the display showing the few remaining alien forces that hadn't yet surrendered. They were scattered, isolated, and completely cut off from reinforcement. Give them one more chance to surrender. If they refuse... She paused, thinking about the human colonies that had been attacked. Then show them what happened to Kelth 9. Some lessons need to be demonstrated clearly. General Seok-Jin Kim received orders to stand down his marine forces. The planetary assaults wouldn't be necessary after all. Earth's advanced weapons had made ground combat obsolete. Entire military installations could be eliminated from orbit without risking a single human life. "Sir," asked his aide, "what should I tell the Marines? They've been training for months for this operation. Tell them their training wasn't wasted. They need to be ready for the next time someone threatens Earth's people. And there will be a next time. There always is." Commander Insu Cho watched as the Valthari fleet powered down their weapons and prepared to escort him to their homeworld. The siege of Valthari Prime was over before it had really begun. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "intelligence reports. That news of our capabilities is spreading throughout the galaxy. Species are calling emergency council sessions to discuss Earth's sudden military superiority." "Sudden," Insu repeated with amusement. "We've had these capabilities for decades. We just never needed to use them before. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson that would reshape interstellar politics for generations. Earth's apparent weakness had been an illusion created by choice, not necessity, and that choice could be revoked at any time. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in the organization's 400-year history. Representatives from dozens of species sat in stunned silence as they watched reports from across the galaxy. In less than 48 hours, Earth had dismantled the largest military alliance ever assembled and reduced 8 powerful civilizations to begging for mercy. Hyun-Woo Kim walked into the chamber wearing the same simple blue uniform he had worn days before, but now the alien delegates looked at him very differently. Where once they had seen a representative of an aggressive but manageable species, they now saw someone whose civilization could apparently unmake entire fleets with weapons they didn't understand. The ancient Etherean speaker called the session to order with a voice that trembled slightly. The council recognizes Representative Kim of Earth. The floor is yours. Hyun-Woo stood calmly and looked around the chamber. Many seats were empty. Representatives from the Alliance species were either dead, captured, or too ashamed to attend. Those who remained watched him with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. "Honored delegates," Hyun-Woo began, "Earth regrets the recent violence. We have always preferred diplomatic solutions to military ones." "Preferred?" interrupted the Tau Confederacy delegate, a being that looked like a walking crystal formation. "Your fleets have destroyed everything. Our allies are gone, their militaries erased from existence. Your allies attacked Earth ships and threatened Earth colonies," Hyun-Woo replied without emotion. "They chose violence over negotiation. Earth simply responded in kind." A delegate from a species that hadn't joined the alliance stood up. "Representative Kim, the galaxy needs to understand what just happened. How does Earth possess such overwhelming military power? Your registered fleet strength was barely 600 ships." Hyun-Woo smiled slightly. "The galaxy sees what Earth chooses to show. For over 2 centuries, we have deliberately revealed only enough of our capabilities to maintain peace. We patrol trade routes, stop pirates, and prevent wars with what amounts to our Coast Guard." "Coast Guard?" The speaker was the delegate from Proxima Industries, a trading consortium. Those were Coast Guard ships? More or less. Earth learned long ago that displaying too much power makes other species nervous. So we used just enough force to keep the peace while hiding our true capabilities. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Aliens began frantically checking their intelligence reports, trying to understand how they had so completely misunderstood Earth's military strength. The Etherean speaker raised his glowing hand for silence. "Representative Kim, your words suggest that Earth could have taken military action on this scale at any time in the past. Is this correct?" "Yes," Hyun-Woo said simply. "Earth has possessed the capability to dominate this galaxy for generations. We chose not to use that power because we believe in freedom and self-determination for all species." "Then why reveal it now?" asked a delegate whose species looked like giant insects. "Because the alternative was to let 8 species attack our civilians and threaten our colonies. Earth will accept many things, but we will not accept threats to innocent human lives." As he spoke, more reports came in from across the galaxy. Earth's new fleet Admiral Changmin Ryu was coordinating the occupation of former Alliance territory. Unlike the previous fleet commanders, Chang Min's job was not to fight wars, but to keep the peace in the aftermath of Earth's overwhelming victory. Chang Min stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Unified Peace, watching as Earth ships took control of former alien strongholds. His orders were clear. Disarm the defeated forces, secure all military installations, and ensure that no species could threaten Earth again. "Admiral," said his intelligence officer, We're receiving reports that some alien leaders are calling for a new alliance to resist Earth's expansion. Changmin shook his head. They still don't understand. Earth isn't expanding. We're consolidating control to prevent future conflicts. Sir, what's the difference? Expansion means taking territory for our own benefit. Consolidation means taking control to prevent others from threatening the peace. Earth has no interest in ruling alien worlds. We just want to make sure they can't attack us again. Back in the council chamber, diplomatic attaché Nari Seo had joined Hyun Woo to present Earth's formal terms for ending the conflict. She was a young woman with sharp eyes and a mind for complex negotiations. Honored delegates, Nari said, Earth's terms are simple and non-negotiable. First, all species that participated in the alliance against Earth will undergo complete military disarmament. Second, they will pay reparations for damages to Earth colonies and shipping. Third, they will accept Earth monitoring of their military rebuilding efforts. For how long? Asked the Valthari representative, who had replaced his emperor after the surrender. Indefinitely, Nari replied. Until Earth is satisfied that you no longer pose a threat to galactic peace. But that could be forever, protested the Kelthian delegate. That depends entirely on your behavior, Hyun Woo said. Earth has no desire to police the galaxy forever. But we will do so as long as necessary to protect our people and our allies. The ancient Etherian speaker leaned forward. Representative Kim, perhaps it is time to discuss the Proxima incident. Many of the younger species do not remember what happened there. A hush fell over the chamber. The Proxima incident was ancient history, something that had happened 90 years ago when most current leaders were not even born. But it was clearly relevant to understanding Earth's current actions. Very well, Hyun Woo said. 90 years ago, a coalition of 7 species decided that humanity was expanding too aggressively from our home system. They formed an alliance and attacked the Proxima Centauri colony, Earth's first settlement outside our home system. He paused, letting the parallels sink in. The current situation was almost identical to what had happened 9 decades earlier. The colony had a population of 50,000 humans, mostly scientists, farmers, and their families. The alliance demanded that Earth abandon the settlement and return to our home system. When Earth refused, they attacked. What happened? Asked a delegate who was clearly too young to remember. The Alliance fleet numbered over 1,000 ships. They bombarded the colony from orbit and landed troops to complete the occupation. For 3 days, it seemed like Earth had been decisively defeated. The chamber was completely silent now. Even species that knew the story wanted to hear it told. Again. On the 4th day, Earth responded. Not with the patrol fleets that the Alliance had been fighting, but with our deep space navy. Ships that no one knew existed appeared throughout Alliance territory. The war lasted exactly 6 hours. 6 hours? Whispered someone. 6 hours, Hyun Woo confirmed. At the end of that time, all 7 Alliance species had lost their entire military capabilities. Their fleets were gone, their bases were captured, and their leadership was in Earth custody. And then? And then Earth gave them the same choice we're giving you now. Accept supervision and rebuild peacefully, or face complete military occupation. They chose supervision. The Etherian speaker's glow had dimmed as he remembered those events. I was present at the negotiations after Proxima. The galaxy learned that day that Earth's restraint was a choice, not a weakness. Exactly, Hyun Woo said. The current conflict is simply history repeating itself. Species that were not around for Proxima made the same mistake their predecessors did. They confused Earth's preference for peace with inability to wage war. Nari stepped forward with a tablet containing the formal surrender documents. These agreements will ensure that this mistake is not made again. Earth will maintain monitoring stations in former Alliance territory. Our fleets will patrol your space until we are satisfied that you pose no threat. Your military rebuilding will proceed under Earth supervision. How do we know Earth won't simply conquer us outright? Asked the Tau delegate. Because, Haiyan Wu replied, if Earth wanted to conquer the galaxy, we would have done it centuries ago. We have the power, but not the desire. All we want is peace, and we will maintain that peace by any means necessary. The vote was unanimous. Every species present agreed to Earth's terms. They had seen what happened to those who refused, and none of them wanted to share that fate. As the session ended, the Etherian speaker approached Yan Wu privately. Representative Kim, the younger species needed to learn this lesson, but I fear they will forget again in time. Then we'll remind them, Yan Wu replied, as many times as necessary. The ancient being's glow flickered with what might have been amusement. Your species has a gift for patient instruction, human. The galaxy is fortunate that you choose to use that gift. The galaxy is fortunate that we prefer teaching to ruling, Haiyan Wu corrected. But make no mistake, Earth will do whatever is necessary to protect its people and maintain the peace. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, word spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The anti-Earth alliance was over. The species that had started this conflict were now under Earth supervision, and everyone had learned, once again, why there was one unbreakable rule in galactic politics: don't tamper with Earth's fleet. The cost of learning that lesson the hard way was too high for any civilization to pay. 6 months after the collapse of the anti-Earth alliance, the galaxy had settled into a new normal. Commander J-Wu Moon stood on the observation deck of the peacekeeping station Harmony's Rest, watching Earth ships patrol the former war zone. His job was to oversee the newly established Earth Peacekeeping Force, an organization created to monitor the defeated Alliance species and prevent future conflicts. Commander, said his aide, Lieutenant Yunho Choi, the monthly reports from all monitoring stations are in. The former Alliance species are complying with disarmament requirements. Jae-Woo nodded as he reviewed the data. The Valthari had dismantled their military shipyards and converted them to civilian manufacturing. The Kelthians were using their former fleet bases as refugee centers for species displaced by the war. Even the proud Tau Confederacy had accepted Earth's supervision without protest. Any signs of resistance or secret rearmament? None that we can detect, sir. If anything, most species seem relieved to have the military burden lifted from them. The Rigelians have redirected their military budget to education and infrastructure. It was true. The galaxy had discovered that maintaining massive military forces was expensive and dangerous. Without the need to compete in arms races, many species were finding they could afford to improve their civilian lives instead. Ambassador So-Ra Kim was experiencing this change firsthand as she visited the reformed Galactic Council on Harmony 7. The same chamber where Earth had been condemned just months before now hosted discussions about trade agreements, scientific cooperation, and cultural exchanges. Ambassador Kim, said the Etherian speaker, the Council wishes to formally thank Earth for its restraint in the recent conflict. Many species feared that your victory would lead to conquest and occupation. Earth has never been interested in conquest, So-Ra replied. We prefer willing partners to unwilling subjects. Yes, said the Valthari representative. Our Emperor has learned this lesson well. He asked me to invite Earth scientists to visit our agricultural worlds. We believe human farming techniques could help us feed our population more efficiently. Sora smiled. The same species that had called humans a plague upon the galaxy were now eager to learn from them. It was amazing how quickly attitudes could change when people realized they had more to gain from cooperation than competition. In another part of the galaxy, Captain Min Ki-o was commanding the cultural exchange vessel New Horizon as it approached the Kelthian homeworld. His ship carried not weapons or marines, but teachers, artists, and scientists eager to share human knowledge with former enemies. "Captain," said his communications officer, "the Kelthian government is requesting permission to hold a public ceremony in our honor. They want to formally apologize for their role in the alliance." Minky considered this carefully. Public ceremonies could be seen as humiliating the defeated species, which was not Earth's goal. On the other hand, allowing the Kelthians to make their apology publicly might help other species understand that cooperation with Earth brought benefits. "Accept their invitation," he decided, "but make it clear that we come as friends and teachers, not as conquerors receiving tribute." The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Kelthian leaders stood before crowds of their own people and formally apologized for attacking Earth colonies. They spoke about the lessons they had learned and their hope for peaceful cooperation with humanity. Captain Minky watched from the platform as the Kelthian Prime Minister, a scaled being with golden eyes, addressed both his people and the galaxy. "We were wrong," the Prime Minister said clearly. "We feared Earth's strength without understanding Earth's character. We saw their ships and imagined conquest. We should have seen their restraint and recognized wisdom." The crowd of Kelthians responded with approval. Many of them had lost family members in the war, but they had also seen how Earth treated defeated enemies. Instead of revenge, humans had brought medicine for the wounded and food for the displaced. Instead of occupation, they had offered partnership. Meanwhile, in a classroom on the agricultural world of New Jeju, former colonial administrator Bora Jeon was teaching a group of alien students about human farming techniques. The same planet that had been threatened with destruction now hosted visitors from across the galaxy who wanted to learn Earth's methods. The key to sustainable agriculture, Bora explained to her mixed class of Valthari, Rigelians, and humans, is understanding the relationship between soil, water, and crops. Earth learned this through centuries of trial and error. A young Valthari student raised a tentacle. "Administrator Jeon, why does Earth share this knowledge freely? Don't you want to maintain advantages over other species?" Bora smiled at the question. It showed how much the galaxy's thinking had changed in just 6 months. Knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied. When other worlds can feed their people better, there's less reason for conflict. Hungry people make desperate decisions. The student nodded thoughtfully. The Valthari homeworld had struggled with food production for generations, which had been one reason they sought to expand into other systems. Now they were learning that cooperation could solve problems that conquest never could. On Luna Base, the aged Admiral Junho Kang was conducting his final inspection before retirement. He walked through the halls where Earth's greatest military minds planned operations that kept the galaxy peaceful. Soon, younger officers would take over these responsibilities. "Admiral," said his aide, a young officer named Ensign Hua Young, "Park, the new class of naval cadets is requesting a meeting with you. They want to hear about the recent conflict from someone who was there." Junho considered this. The young officers needed to understand not just how Earth had won the war, but why it had been necessary. They would be the ones to prevent future conflicts through strength and wisdom. Very well. Gather them in the main briefing room. An hour later, Junho stood before 200 young men and women who would soon command Earth's ships. They looked at him with respect and curiosity, eager to learn from a veteran of the galaxy's most decisive conflict. "You want to know about the war?" Junho began. "But first, let me ask you a question. Why do you think Earth maintains such powerful military forces?" A cadet raised her hand. "To protect our colonies and trade routes, sir." Partially correct. Anyone else? Another cadet spoke up. "To deter aggression from hostile species, Admiral." Also, partially correct. But you're both missing the most important reason. Junho walked to the large display showing current fleet positions throughout the galaxy. "Earth maintains overwhelming military power so that we never have to use it." The cadets looked confused. One of them asked, "Sir, how does that make sense?" "Because," Junho explained, "when everyone knows you can win any fight, most fights never start. For 2 centuries, Earth's reputation has prevented countless wars. Species resolve their disputes through negotiation because they know the alternative is facing us." "But Admiral," said a young woman in the front row, "what happens when species forget that lesson?" Junho's expression grew serious. "Then we remind them, quickly, decisively, and with just enough force to make the lesson memorable. The recent conflict wasn't Earth's first reminder to the galaxy. It won't be the last." He activated the display to show historical data from the Proxima incident and other smaller conflicts where Earth had been forced to demonstrate its capabilities. Every generation or so, new species emerge or old ones forget why the galaxy is peaceful. They see Earth's patrol fleets and think we're weak. They mistake our restraint for inability. When that happens, we have to educate them. "How do we prevent these conflicts, sir?" asked a cadet. "By being strong enough that no one wants to test us, but wise enough that everyone wants to work with us. By showing just enough power to maintain respect, but not so much that we inspire fear and resentment." Junho walked closer to the cadets. "Remember this above all. Earth's greatest weapon isn't our ships or our technology. It's our reputation. Other species know that if they threaten us, they will lose. They also know that if they cooperate with us, they will benefit. That reputation took centuries to build. It's your job to maintain it." As the briefing ended, Junho reflected on how much the galaxy had changed since he first put on an Earth uniform. The same species that had once viewed humans as dangerous newcomers now sent their children to learn in Earth schools. Trade between human and alien worlds was at an all-time high. Scientific cooperation was producing breakthroughs that benefited everyone. But he also knew that this peace was fragile. New species were always emerging from previously unknown regions of space. Young leaders would rise to power without personal memory of what happened to those who challenged Earth. The cycle would continue. That evening, as Junho prepared to turn command over to the next generation, he received a priority communication from the edge of explored space. A long-range exploration ship had made contact with a previously unknown civilization, a powerful empire that claimed dominion over several hundred star systems. The ship's captain appeared on Junho's screen, a woman named Captain Sujin Lee. "Admiral, the new species calls itself the Hegemony of Worlds. Their leaders are demanding that all other civilizations acknowledge their supremacy. Have they been informed about galactic law and the galactic